First thing I'd like to say, practice 13, the guys are competing and battling like crazy. It gives you a chance to get better each and every practice when they bring their hard hat and they compete with one another. They want to win the period. They want to win the drill. We have a lot of that going on right now. So, we're right in the thick of this thing, and there's a lot of adversity going on. There's execution errors, there's pushing through things, there's depth chart battles, there's injuries to overcome, there's a lot happening. So it's what it needs to be. Camp's supposed to be hard, and we're having a trying camp, which is necessary for where we want to go. Questions?
You said you wanted to name a starting quarterback after those scrimmages. Are you prepared to name a starter?
Yeah, we are going to name a starter. We've met with Grant and Jason and let them both know that Grant would be our starting quarterback, and that Jason made it difficult. He had a great summer and a really good camp. Was proud of the way he competed, and feel very fortunate to have a number one like Grant that's had an exceptional camp, very accurate, great ball placement, great decision making, and then to have a guy like Jason on the ready when we need him. Just makes plays, big body, really was much better throwing the football this camp. So moving forward, Grant's our guy.
Has Grant sort of been a continuation from the spring, or has he elevated anything over the summer and in camp?
Yeah, Grant has certainly elevated. I think that's really for me, Jason's done such a nice job, but Grant's just been exceptional. Coach Glenn and Coach Bone have done a great job with him. He puts in the extra. He's very coachable, a great student of the game. He's getting better and better all the time, and I'm just so impressed with the ball he throws. Makes it tough on the defense.
What do you like about his leadership? Is he kind of taken is it hard now, with the battle kind of lasting all this time, or has he established himself kind of as a voice, or you look for that now going forward?
I think his leadership skills will emerge even more, but to be honest, both these guys, Jason and Grant, have demonstrated great leadership and have earned the respect of the whole football team. I think our guys feel good about either one of these guys taking the field and giving us a good chance to win a football game. So, but Grant's got some unassuming qualities. He's got a quiet demeanor about him that demands respect, and he's got a ton of maturity, and he's in a good place.
You mentioned injuries in your intro. Haven't seen Dalen Wright in a while, and Malachi Thomas and Kelly Lawson was also out today. Any updates about those three?
Yeah, so, and again, with the injuries, I want to give these guys space. When things happen, whether it's injuries, whether it's academics, whether it's student conduct, we're going to take some time to sort some things out. So you may see guys unavailable and, giving us a chance, more so them a chance to kind of sort through things. So Dalen Wright has had a season-ending injury. We wish him the best. He was really having a nice camp. I'm excited about his future. He's in great spirits. Obviously, our medical team's taking great care of him, and he's on the road to recovery. Malachi Thomas has suffered an injury. He's going to be week by week, but he's in meetings, he's in camp, he's very involved. He's getting treatment and rehab, and excited about the year that Malachi can still have for us.
Do you view that, week to week, does he have a chance of playing the opener?
It's week to week, so we got a couple weeks left. Obviously we hope that he could, but I'll leave that up to the docs. Kelly Lawson's just unavailable right now.
Jaden Blue is sort of in blue jersey. Looked like he had a pretty severe limp the other day. Is he getting better?
He is getting better. He's on the mend. He's receiving good treatment. I expect him back here sooner than later.
And while Blue's been kind of working through some stuff with the injuries he's dealing with, what have you seen from some of the other guys beyond, obviously, Lofton and Smith at that wide receiver position?
Yeah, one of the guys that's really stepped up is Stephen Gosnell. Has had a real nice camp. He trimmed up this summer, really put in the extra work, and is moving well, catching the ball well, and he's put himself in a position to play. I would want to mention Christian Moss as well. Really, these last 4 or 5 practices has made nice plays in each practice. in big moments. He made a couple today, so I'm excited about both those guys, seeing what they can do.
I know you mentioned you've been trying to sort through the linebacker room and kind of name a starter. How's that competition going? Do you like what you see there?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm very impressed with the progress and development at the position. I think Jaden Keller and Kelly Lawson have both done a great job. They're making us feel better and better all the time about what we can put out there at that spot. Alan Tisdale's obviously in the mix. We've got Tisdale, playing some will. We may start looking at him at Mike a little bit. As I've mentioned before, these guys learn in two spots to create depth and some flexibility. But Keyshawn Artis is having a nice camp and a nice compliment to Dax right now. And then Dean Ferguson's been out there. Good athlete, fluid, kind of learning the system without being out there much this spring.
Do you feel like a starting five's emerging on that offensive line, or a group you feel good about?
I do. I hope to have, more than 5. I think we're shooting for 6 or 7, and there's a good competition going on at the one guard spot. But I'm pleased with the development of that group. I think we'll put a first group out there that we'll feel pretty good about.
In terms of tackle depth, it gets pretty young when you get down to that second group with tackles.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that situation?
Young.
Right?
We're young. Depth in at a lot of spots is a concern. And, I can only hope over these next couple weeks, and as the season goes, we continue to build that depth with those young guys. And when they're needed, you hope it's not until they're ready. We're at least 3, 4, 5 more weeks down the road when, they got a little better handle on things. But the young guys are working really good. And, I'm not disappointed in any of them. Daquan Wright makes plays out here every day. He's a matchup problem for linebackers.
It's not as prevalent, obviously, as it was 2 years ago, but has COVID been an issue for you guys at all? And, do you guys have guys out? Have you got to bail that at all, or is it kind of...
It hasn't been a factor to this point. Hasn't been a factor.
And then Braylon Moore is a guy you had a lot of praise for last week. What have you seen from him in his continued development? And is he a guy you see kind of in that guard competition?
Yeah, I do. I think Braylon's he's smart for a young guy. He's mature. He's talented. I think it was absolutely the right thing moving him over to the offensive line. He's got traits that say D tackle, but he's positioned himself. He's in the conversation for playing time.
You guys had two scrimmages in the last week. Anything stand out? What were your big takeaways from those 2 instances?
Yeah, to be honest, right now I'm pleased with the explosive plays out of our offense. We're pushing the ball down the field and moving the chains, in big chunks at times, which is important to score points. Those guys are doing a nice job. I think we're very multiple offensively, which is always challenging for a defense.
When do you guys start preparing for Old Dominion specifically?
Tuesday. Yeah, we'll get through the weekend, and we're really concentrating on us right now. Some of the analysts and the GAs, they've taken on some projects related to Old Dominion, and to really across the board our opponents in the first half of the season. Some off-season projects that they're finishing up, but as far as our players and our main focus, it's still about us right now.
Is there just a half scrimmage left, or is there a full scrimmage?
Saturday's a full scrimmage. Yeah, more situational. Some of it may be tag off. The whole thing may not be. We're still kind of working through it. We'll see where we are come Saturday morning. But we may get some tag off in there, thud, as opposed to live. But there'll be a portion of it that's live and some good situation that we need. And, we'll start to pull back a little bit on some guys that are a little more proven, and get these other guys that we're talking about, these depth guys that need to come on, get them some real substantial reps.
Have you gone live with any of the quarterbacks at all?
We have not.
And no plan to?
I can't say that.
So maybe that last scrimmage you
Yes,
went
sir.
with some of the younger guys?
Yes, sir.
How many conversations go into how hard you push these guys in the preseason? Probably give and take every day and trying to decide to do that.
A lot. Nowadays you don't have to just trust your instincts and what you see as a coach. You've got sports science, and you've got a medical staff, and you've got a strength staff, and so for me it's a conversation for all of us. You take information from from all the perspectives that have our hands on our players on this team and make the best decision. So we're constantly evaluating that.
Did you use those 2 extra off days that you
We
had?
did, yes, sir.
You
That's a
mixed
good
them in?
question.
Yeah.
Yep, and they were beneficial. You know, we created basically 4 mini camps, and that's how we approached it with the guys. And there was an off day in between each one, and a chance to regroup and evaluate personnel and scheme. So it's been good. But yeah, you know, you're always, you know, we've got a good stretch right now. So I just told the kids post practice that we're gonna cancel our walkthrough in the morning to keep them off their feet for tomorrow afternoon's practice. So, you know, again, just after discussions to make sure we have a good one tomorrow afternoon, we did that.
This is kind of a forward-looking question. Today it got kind of revealed that you'll have an opening on your non-conference schedule in 2026.
I didn't even know that.
So BYU's out. But are you going to be a coach? I mean, you didn't really have many openings until like the 2031,
Right.
but that has an opinion about that, like that pushes for a specific type of game in that schedule. Like when those things come up now, with some of the shifting, are you going to be sort of hands-on in that part of the?
Yeah, I'd like to be, and we've had conversations about our future schedule with John Boleyn and Witt and Danny and Mike Hazel. We've kicked some things around, but you know, certainly I'll be involved in that discussion.
If you had to choose one word to describe Dalen Wright, what would it be?
Well-rounded. Yeah, he's well-rounded. You know, I could say mature. He's been very consistent. He's been mature. He's just a well-rounded back. He does a lot of things pretty daggone good.
What do you see kind of at the second defensive end spot opposite Garbett now that you've had a few weeks of practice?
Yeah, I'm excited. Cole Nelson, C.J. McCray, those guys are pushing those starters. So they're athletic. They got great motors. They can run. C.J. and Cole both have a lot of linebacker traits to me.
You mentioned the big plays. Is that at the expense of the secondary? Have you seen some like you got to work through some issues back there? Or what do you kind of see?
Yeah, I think it's both. It's lack of depth in the secondary. And it's also some nice plays and some really nice passes by our quarterbacks. So it's a combination of both.
Has it been fun trying to leave Connor Blumrick in and out and get him some action? I don't know where you guys are playing him for all over the field.
He is fun to watch. You know, every time the ball's thrown his way, you wonder what can happen. He's a big, long guy that can run, and he's a matchup problem for linebackers. And to be honest, he's a matchup problem for safeties. And he's a smart guy. He's got a great motor. He'll be a big part of what we do.
How big of a role do you kind of envision for Keyshawn King and kind of the versatility that he brings to the table?
Yeah, it needs to be a big role. He's our most explosive player. And whether he's at tailback, whether he's at slot, whether he's motioning out to a flanker, he's a dynamic guy. And we're going to ask a lot of him. He and Connor are both going to be important guys, you know, in our planning.